once again and helping us IGI to put our expertise and knowledge to people across the world. I have been in the trade of gemology for almost 17 years now, and I would like to introduce myself as Natasha, who handles the research team at IGI India. We are here today to talk about this beautiful topic on emeralds. I wish everyone present here a very good afternoon. And I would like to tell you all that if you all have any questions during the session, you can post it on the panel that says question at the extreme right of your screen. As termed emeralds, they are the beautiful stones that belong to the gem industry over the period of years. And as you look at these stones, you wonder why they are so special and what makes emeralds so special. Emeralds belong to the silicate group, and beryllium and aluminium are the main elements that contribute to the chemical composition of emeralds. Emeralds belong to the beryl species. Emeralds belong to the beryl species, and basically the contribution of color is from light to dark. The cause of color in emeralds is basically from the trace elements of chromium, iron or vanadium. In the course of the session, I will tell you how the element chromium helps in identifying emeralds from a large parcel of green gemstones present at a site. Refractive index of emerald is 1.57 to 1.58. Now, why is refractive index so important? Well, let me tell you that refractive index is the way the light is passed through a gemstone and is reflected back onto the surface. This reflective index of any particular gemstone is very unique, and we do not see any particular gemstone overlapping with reflective index. That makes it very special that emeralds are identified by their reflective index. The specific gravity is basically the density of a colored stone. The density of the colored stone of emerald is 2.72. Hardness. Hardness is basically the scratch and the wear and tear a gemstone undergoes and can resist to the normal procedures of wear and tear that you would undertake. In the case of emerald, the hardness is 7.5 to 8. Why are emeralds valuable and expensive? Well, the factors that contribute to emeralds being valuable and expensive are the beauty, the rarity and the durability of the colored stone. Emeralds are beautiful because of the intense green color that the stone possesses. The beautiful vivid color from green to bluish green is the most desirable color that the gemstone needs. The rarity factor. What makes it rare? Well, the transparency of the stone and the availability of this beautiful green that emeralds had over a period of time, right from the era of the royal people, we realize that these are the factors that help the emeralds to be rare. Durability. It is really important that colored stones are durable. If they aren't durable, it becomes very difficult for them to be worn as an ornament or as a jewelry. And this is important for any gemstone when they are termed as precious. Let me take the topic of color with you. Emeralds. When we say emeralds, the only color that usually comes to a person's mind is the green color. But we also know that emeralds can be found in bluish green tones as well as in yellowish green. The hue, which is the primary color, helps in determining or identifying what color category would you term the emerald to be. The tone. The tone in an emerald is basically the light and the dark phases that one will see. If I look at the saturation of the emerald, sometimes the emeralds are saturated to an intense coloration or to a vivid coloration, which is really beautiful and appealing to the trade. It is so important for us to understand that when the colors of an emerald are green, intense green, they are most desired in the market. The greyish tones of emerald is not such a desired color, and the trade will not appreciate the low colors of emerald. Transparency. What is important when we say the word transparent? Transparency is the vision in which an emerald can be seen through. The gemstones that we are viewing right now are termed as transparent because we can see that the light can pass through these stones. The emerald stones that are transparent fetch a premium in the trade. It is important that emeralds are transparent for them to be appealed or to fetch a premium in the trade. Sometimes you have inclusions inside your emeralds that can contribute to affect light passing through your emeralds. When light is unable to pass through your emeralds, it makes it difficult for the visibility of the stone. This visibility of the stone downgrades the value of the emerald. It is very important for one, while buying emeralds, to see the transparency of the emerald. Cutting styles. The typical cutting style of emeralds is the emerald shape. The emerald shape is the most desirable and the most common cut that you will find all categories of emeralds. Also, let me take you to more more shapes that are common. So you have the oval and the pear shape, which is also other shapes that emeralds are commonly cut into. Carved. Emeralds are carved into various artifacts, into various sizes, shapes, and various sizes and shape. The ancient times, emeralds was carved into artifacts that were placed on exhibitions, and that was good and valuable. The other typical shape that an emerald is cut in times that it has fine growth tubes or needle is the cabochon cut. The cabochon cut is basically a dome shaped cut in which the Chatterjee effect is highlighted. If you look at the picture to the extreme right, you see the Chatterjee effect getting highlighted. Look to my right. The brooch is basically made up of old stones that are cabochon cut, and the cabochon cut brings out the Chatterjee effect. So this enhances the Chatterjee effect, which would not have been seen otherwise if they were cut in transparent stones. Well, if we learnt about color and transparency and the way they are affecting emeralds, we would think that we know how to identify an emerald. But guess what? I look at all the pictures in this particular slide and they look so close to my emerald. What makes then the identifying or the presence of inclusions in my emeralds different? I have a zircon, a green sapphire, a peridot, tourmaline and a topaz, which looks so close to my emerald green color. Thus, it is more important that apart from color and transparency, we move on to better and more advanced techniques of identifying emeralds. Instrumentations. The basic tool that is required in a gemological industry for testing of colored stones is the refractometer. The refractometer helps one to identify the refractive index of a particular gemstone. The Chelsea filter. It is called the best friend of an emerald. An emerald manufacturer or a person who is very keen on buying and selling emeralds. What makes the Chelsea filter so important? Well, let me tell you. If you have a parcel of green stones and you need to identify or screen the green stones really quickly, what would you do? And if I have no particular instruments with me, I can use the Chelsea filter. What I do is that I simply place the stone under a strong light source, maybe a fiber optic source, and let the light pass through my stones and view it with the help of a Chelsea filter. Now what do? I see through my Chelsea filter and I see the emeralds turning red. This helps me to identify my emeralds really quickly from a parcel. Well, you have to be very careful also, because at times what you have is green stones that are not colored with chromium. When that happens, it is difficult for you to identify your emeralds. If the trace element in emeralds is vanadium or iron, then they may not turn red to a Chelsea filter. However, maximum of the emeralds known is either in a combination of chromium or in just chromium trace individually present in them. Thus, it makes it really easy for a lay person to identify emeralds quickly. Magnification. Why is magnification very important in classifying emeralds? Emeralds have a lot of characteristics that lie within the stone. This is important for us to identify the mines or the origin from which the emeralds originated. Also, magnification can talk a lot to a person regarding whether the clarity was enhanced or it was not enhanced. Sometimes emeralds have fissures that reach the surface and causes a lot of damage. This makes the emerald not durable. It is important for us that the emeralds are durable, since 80% of the emeralds mined are with fissures that reach the surface. One has to be very careful in buying, cutting or possessing an emerald. Why? Because it can also damage or break my emerald. We have treatments that are done on emerald to make them more durable. The microscope helps me in identifying where emeralds are treated, synthetic or natural. I also have at the extreme right the FTIR spectroscope. The FTIR spectroscope helps me to analyze the absorption of each and every emerald or colored stone. This helps me in identifying synthetics, natural or any kind of treatments done on my emeralds. Emerald mines. We have a lot of area of mining all over the world, contributing to the production of emeralds. Colombia, one of the most famous countries with the most finest emeralds, are best known to everyone in the trade. Most of the people would like and appreciate to know whether they have a Colombian emerald and what characterizes it to be a Colombian emerald. At times, we also have a lot of inclusions that will help us in identifying these particular origins. Zambia, Brazil, Pakistan are also the major contributing factors or mines to emerald gemstone. Well, this is what your emeralds will look like once they are mined. Look at the rough. They are beautiful and varying in colors. If you go along with my cursor or you follow my cursor, you see a yellowish green rough. Go to the right of my screen and I can see a bluish green rough. What is important is also the formation or the structure of the rough. It is formed in an hexagonal structure. Columbian mining. Columbian mining is carried out in various areas contributing to the production of emeralds. I further would like to take you all to something that is really interesting. When we have an emerald and we are viewing it under the microscope, it is important that we are able to interpret the information that we are deriving from the inclusion pattern seen in emeralds. If you follow my cursor, you will see a square shape at the extreme right of your screen. This particular shape forms a solid face. Moving on to the left, you see a bubble. The bubble is again a liquid phase and the bubble is the gas phase and the entire thing is trapped in a liquid phase, which forms a jagged edge. Now this is important for us to remember. The three-phase inclusion. The three-phase inclusion is quite characteristic of a Columbian emerald. So when you have Columbian emeralds, you see that the transparency of these emeralds is beautiful, desired, and fetch a premium in the trade. We also have the Columbian emeralds showing us the characteristic of the growth pattern. The growth pattern is the oil drop that can be seen as a texture when you leave it in water. This effect, moving with my cursor, this effect that is seen on the emeralds terms it or determines it as Columbian origin. I also have the well-defined octahedron shaped crystals. These crystals are termed or known as pyrite. The pyrite crystals is again one of the characteristic identifying feature in an emerald. The trapezium emerald. The trapezium emerald is the most beautiful emerald that comes out only of the Columbian mine. What makes the trapezium emerald so beautiful? If you look at the image right in the center, you see the 6 spokes that are formed during formation. Move along with my cursor and you can see it very distinctly as 6 spokes being formed. Now these 6 spokes are formed and are separated out with carbonaceous material which is in the center of my stone or forming distinct lines separating the two. This is important because we see these category of emeralds rarely. They are precious and beautiful. I would also like you all to take a closer look at the carbonaceous material we were speaking about. The carbonaceous material distinguishes the 6 sites. These are the 2 major mines that contribute to the beautiful Trapezium emeralds, the Muso mines. They are very famous and well known. Brazilian emeralds. How do I differentiate my Brazilian emeralds? Well, my Brazilian emeralds are slightly bluish green in coloration. Also, an important fact to remember is the black specks of grain you will see under a microscope. At times, we see the black chromite grains also with the naked eyes. So if you have a loupe and you focus it in a nice light environment, you will be able to see the black specks. These black specks help one in differentiating or characterizing it as Brazilian emeralds. Along with this, at times we do see growth patterns or growth tubes also running parallel to the structure of the emerald. If you follow my cursor, you will see these parallel lines moving along the crystal structure. Russian emeralds. Russian emeralds are majorly present with actinolite rods. Now when I have to imagine what actinolite rods will look or appear, they form bamboo sticks or shoots, which are very important or characteristic in identifying Russian emeralds. When I look at Russian emeralds from inside, I see them abundantly being filled with actinolite rods. Indian emeralds. Well, Indian emeralds are generally less transparent and are more of a low quality at times. But the characteristic feature of my Indian emerald is the two-phase inclusion. I would like to take you along with me into the image. The rectangular shape of the inclusion present along with the bubble, that is a gas bubble, makes it a two-phase. But what makes it so characteristic of an Indian emerald? It is termed Indian emerald because of its parallel growth structure moving on in one direction. This one direction helps us in identifying them as Indian emeralds. Now when we are terming all the origins as per characteristic inclusions, I would also like you all to know that this is not the only feature that will help us in identifying origins. Along with this, we will have to keep in mind many other factors that are important. However, we will be in advantage if we look into the magnification and find all these inclusions, because they will help us to identify particularly as an emerald and from where it originated or belonged. Zimbabwe. Again, the fine tremor tremolite fibers differentiate the Zimbabwe emeralds from all other characteristic inclusions that we have seen so far. It helps and eases out the identification of Zimbabwe emeralds. Zambian emeralds. When I say Zambian emeralds, I know that after your Colombian emeralds, if the trade is very closely associated with any other emeralds, it is the Zambian emeralds, because they have a coloration that is quite close to my Colombian color. The intense green or the vivid green that Zambian emeralds originate from makes it really special and desirable. When I look into the interiors of my Zambian emeralds, this is what I would find. Limonite tubes to the left of my screen, and the identifying feature, that is my hematite and my magnetite. The hematite is differentiated by the brownish yellow that is seen. Well, the magnetite is the black coloration, and the combination of the magnetite and hematite helps us to characteristic this particular stone as Zambian emeralds. Biotite. Biotite is also found in abundant in Zambian emeralds. It is an important feature when we are trying to differentiate origins. Also to the left, the common feature that is found in Zambian emeralds is the rectangular two-phase inclusion. Pakistan emeralds. Pakistan emeralds also contribute abundantly to the emerald mining that takes place over the globe. Well, the repeated growth restrictions help in identifying Pakistani emeralds. These are caused because of the repeated growth constraints. Clarity enhancement. This is really important because all emeralds are not durable. We have to do or undergo a treatment for them to sustain. It is important when we talk about clarity enhancement that the emeralds are traditionally undergoing a process called oiling. Oiling is best known by cedarwood oil, which has been famous over a period of time. Now this is a traditional category of oiling which has been done over generations together and has been accepted in the trade. When I talk about clarity enhancement, I also understand that this has to be distinguished or differentiated. Well, natural raisins. Natural raisins is another form of clarity enhancement that is done on emeralds to improve its fissures. The surface reaching fissures most of the times leave the emeralds brittle. Thus, since generations together, emeralds have been enhanced in clarity. Of late, we have seen a trend that emeralds are enhanced by epoxy resins. Epoxy resins is more famous or more known to us by the term opticon. Opticon is not so acceptable in the trade as compared to oiling or natural resins. Why is it so? Basically, when you treat your stones with opticon, this is what we would see. The fissures of the emerald are filled, but they are left behind with a trace of flash effect. If you look at my cursor, what you are able to see in the fissure is a blue coloration. This can be viewed when you place your emeralds under your microscope and let light pass through the fissures. The rocking movement of the fissures to and fro causes the flash colors. Look at the picture on the right. You see the yellow coloration. This too is caused due to the flash color. Synthetic emeralds. Why do I need to differentiate a synthetic emerald from a natural emerald? Well, we have just gone through a presentation that talks about the colors of emeralds, it talks about the transparency of emeralds, it talks about inclusions in emeralds and how these inclusions make it so characteristic of a particular origin. I would also like to get it to your attention that synthetic emeralds is common and well known and available in the trade since a very long period. Now when I look at a natural emerald and I look at a synthetic emerald, the value of the two stones are different. What helps me to identify a synthetic emerald from a natural emerald is the characteristic inclusion pattern seen within the stone. If I look at the picture on the left, I see my twisted veil appearance. Now this is really common or really typical of a synthetic emerald. One will not find these category of inclusions in a natural emerald. So it differentiates or makes it really important. Flux feather. What are my flux feathers? My flux feathers are also another identifying feature when I have to differentiate it from the natural emerald. This is important for me as a gemologist because it helps me in identifying my emeralds. The thick residue in the feathers is important for me to analyze them as natural or synthetic. When I look at the hydrothermal process of synthesizing emeralds, there are two characteristic inclusion pattern that is identified. This inclusion pattern helps us in identifying the emerald as synthetic. If you look at the cursor, you will find a V pattern. This V pattern helps in identifying the emerald as synthetic. This is basically the growth structure within the emerald. Look at to my right of the screen. I have the growth structure moving up and down, forming mountains and valleys. This is really typical of synthetic hydrothermal emeralds. Platinum sticks. These are inclusions formed in synthetic emeralds that again differentiated from natural emeralds. What is so characteristic of them? Look at the inclusion to my right. The gold nail head. The gold nail head is also an inclusion that is not found in natural emeralds. Phenakite crystals. Phenakite crystals also appear in synthetic emeralds, causing them to be differentiated. Look at the inclusion to your left. This particular inclusion is a two-phase inclusion. The phenakite crystal is at the extreme edge, and if I move along with my cursor, I see a gas bubble that is trapped inside the inclusion. This two-phase inclusion again is very different from the natural two-phase inclusions that are seen in emeralds. Then moving on to emerald certification, I would like to tell you at IGI we certify all categories of emeralds. The emeralds that are certified are also given the origins from where they originated. The origin is also mentioned onto your certificate, helping you to identify where the emeralds were mined from. This is important for one to fetch a premium on the certificates. If I look at the certificate and look at the cursor, we will see the term Colombian mentioned, stating that this particular colored stone is from Colombian mines. We also disclose the nature or the characteristic of the treatment that is undergone on a particular emerald. Natural emeralds are generally oiled. This information is really important while trading in emeralds. When the trade accepts oiling of emeralds to be common, it is reluctant to emeralds treated or clarity enhanced by opticon. Going ahead with the cert, we also have a credit card size certificate which is available, which will give minimum information about your emeralds. So this category of certification helps one to quickly analyze whether their emerald is enhanced or not. The jewelry certificate. We also have a jewelry certificate that helps us to identify the emeralds when in mounted condition. The mounted condition of the colored stone is important for us to identify them as emeralds. If I look at the emerald certification, if I look at the jewelry certification, we would categorize all the fields right from your species to the variety, shape and cut, transparency and inclusion pattern, so that while receiving a certificate of IGI, one is confident that he is able to trust IGI in their certification. I would like to thank one and all present here for being with me in this session. Now, we would like to share some care and some tips while handling your emerald jewelry. Cleaning methods. Since emeralds are not the most desired gemstones and lack a little bit of the durability factor, it is important to never use ultrasonic cleaning devices. It is also important to never put them in steamers. What we recommend is a soapy water and a mild detergent. If one uses strong detergent or vigorous rubbing, this will damage your emerald. Stability. I would suggest that their emeralds, if they are heated, may cause fracturing or breaking. It is also important that we keep it away from all acids, especially strong hydrofluoric acids. This hydrofluoric acid may also damage the emerald or remove the oiling enhancement that is done on the clarity of the emerald. For example, if your emeralds are having surface reaching feathers that were enhanced and you dip this particular stone or jewelry piece in these acidic agents, you would find that the oil is removed of the fissures. One would say it is not required. However, I would suggest that emerald stones need to be taken care if you possess jewelry or colored stones that are of high value. With this, I would end the presentation taking in few questions now. The first question that I would like to take is, what defines emerald valuable? What I would say is the color, clarity, size and origin. Why do I say color, clarity, size and origin? The color. If I have an emerald that is intense or vivid green in color, it helps me to understand that it is of high value. The moment the primary color is replaced with yellow or blue, it is not such a desirable color. The clarity. Clarity and transparency, I say, would go along with each other. Why clarity and transparency? Is because clarity would not let the light pass through the stone and also would not let it be durable. So it is important that you pick emeralds that are less fissures and also are more transparent in nature. When I say size, okay, if I have an emerald that is small in size and I have an emerald that varies from 10 carats, obviously that would define what my emeralds are valued at. Also, origin plays a very important role as mentioned earlier. Colombian, Zambian emeralds fetch a premium in the market. This is also because of the fine, intense, vivid colors. Moving on to the next question. Does emerald have a good appreciation? Of course. Emeralds of big sizes are really appreciated in the market. The buyback of emeralds from origins such as Colombian or 5 carat up helps in identifying the stones as premium quality. So I would say yes, it does have a valuable stand in the market. The next question. Difference between real and synthetic emeralds. The difference between real and synthetic emeralds, as discussed in my presentation, I would say is basically on inclusions. Why? Because if I look at the stones that I was just discussing, I look at 2 emeralds and you would not believe my synthetic emeralds will look most beautiful in color. They would look like an intense or vivid green, and you would be shocked to know that you have picked up a synthetic emerald. Now this can be only differentiated by inclusions. Why? Because the Ri, Sg, the physical properties as well as the chemical properties of a natural and synthetic are identical. So Whatever we discussed about the inclusions, for example, the phenakite crystals, the gold specules, will not be found in my natural emeralds. Even the characteristic growth pattern that I spoke about, moving on to the hydrothermal process, you will never see something like that in your natural emeralds. Your natural emeralds will have beautiful crystals, more defined, more definite in a crystallographic structure. Also, when we look at phases of inclusions, we realize that it is really differentiating from your natural and your synthetic. Sending your emeralds to a well-established laboratory for certification is also very important in today's time. Why? Because I would not really be able to differentiate the two emeralds. I will take the next question as inclusions in emeralds make them less valuable. Well, that all depends. I can say a yes and I can say a no. I will say a yes because it helps in the identifying factor of emeralds. Why would it help an emerald to be pure? Like if I look at an emerald that is almost free of inclusions, I would not ever know the origin of it unless I use advanced techniques. Like advanced instrumentations will help us to still identify the emeralds as natural or synthetic. But if I have to use basic tools, then I would rather prefer inclusions in the emeralds. The disadvantage of inclusions being present in an emerald is that it blocks the transparency of emeralds. Once it blocks the transparency of emeralds, like discussed earlier, it loses the value of an emerald. What is more preferred in the market of today is emeralds that are less transparent and are in desired colors of intense and vivid greens. So well, as answered, inclusions can play a positive role as well as a negative role. I would say balance it out. Go in for inclusions, go in for emeralds that are less included so that they are not blocking your transparency, or go in for inclusions that are more to the end of the emerald. So in setting conditions or mounted conditions, you would still enjoy the beauty of the stone. Are all emeralds treated? Is one of the questions. In the trade of emeralds, oiling is the most common and the most known over the generations of time. And well, I would say it is even accepted. But I still leave it that there are a certain category of emeralds that are not treated. But the percentage of it is very less. Major of the emeralds in today's time are treated. They have to be treated because treatments on the clarity part of it helps the emerald to be durable. If the emeralds are not treated, they are really not durable to the wear and tear of today. Like you possess an emerald or you will stud it in mounted conditions because you want to wear it. You want to show somebody that you have an emerald ring and it's beautiful and it's gorgeous and it's rare. Now if I say that I want to use an emerald on an everyday regular basis, maybe by nature it is not possible. Like I said earlier, the emeralds will have fissures that will not help the emerald to last over a long period of time. So, It is so important that we treat or we enhance the emeralds so that they are able to be worn on a regular day-to-day basis. Since I do not have any further questions, I would like to end the session, and I would like to thank one and all present in this place for their valuable time that they have given us in understanding the journey of emeralds. Like I said, emeralds are beautiful. They are known to us from a long period of time. Right from the ancients until today, the royal people, the important celebrities, everyone desires to have an emerald after diamonds. Why do they desire to have an emerald after diamonds? It's because this gemstone has a beauty by itself. The color and intensity of this stone makes it a factor that you would want to possess in your jewelry box. So having said this and having understood the entire journey of emeralds, I would like to end my presentation and hand over to Swapnil from GemAtlas.
Thank you once again, Natasha, for conducting this very informative webinar for us. Due to the time constraint, we were not able to take all the questions posted by the participants, but thank you all for being such a interactive participants, and we will get back to a few of the questions post this session via email or maybe posting it on the webinars. You can log on to gematlas.com and subscribe to our newsletter so that you get updated with the upcoming webinars. You may also contact and email us for your feedbacks or any kind of assistance that you require with GemAtlas at info@gematlas.com. Thank you once again, and also if you have any topic in mind or would you like to host the webinar for GemAtlas, you can contact us by email on info@gematlas.com. Thank you once again for everybody for being a very interactive participants here at this session. Thank you once again, IGI and Natasha, for conducting this session for us.
Yay.